Yeah, that's what she was, yeah, she was printing that out. Yes, I spent part of my day wrapping presents. The seat is full, the floor in front of me is full.
Not me.
Check, check.
Check.
Is there anyone here to do the invocation, Boyd?
No, sir. Not that I'm aware of. Check, check. You guys hear me okay?
Speak.
Speak, speak,
Turn you up a little bit, Boyd.
speak, speak.
There you go.
Check.
All right. We call to order the December 9 meeting of the Signal Mountain Town Council, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and after that, we'll observe a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I apologize for my voice. I'm on my way up and out from that thing that everybody else has had. Carol, will you do the roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Amy Stevens absent. Councilmember Cheryl Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Bill Lusk.
Here.
Councilmember Suzanne Murdock.
Here.
Mayor Dan Lang.
Here. We have no minutes to approve tonight, so we move pretty quickly here tonight, Paul. So we have the presentation of our audit tonight.
Thank you for having me here tonight.
Say your name and your address. And
I am Paul Johnson. I'm representing Johnson, Murphy, and Wright CPAs. And we're here to report on the results of the audit I think y'all have got a copy in front of you. So I can kind of go
Sam,
over those.
will you check his mic? All right, Carolyn.
Is it on? No. Is it on now?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. I'm going to try to go over this report. There's a lot of information in here. If you'll turn, I think, let me see how many pages there are. There's, you know, something like 100 pages. So I'm not going to go over everything in this report, but I want to hit the highlights and I want to try to make it where y'all understand what the report says financially, okay? So anyway, as I ask you to turn to a page, the page numbers are in the center bottom of the page. So I'm going to start off on pages 7 and 8. And as you turn there, I'm going to tell you you got a clean audit opinion, which is what the state of Tennessee wants so bad. You get that clean audit opinion, you know, where it says everything's fine. And so I'm going to try to talk about the highlights. And page 7 is the balance sheet, the most condensed we can get it, okay? And if you look at the top page, we got it broken down into government type activities and business type activities. The water, in other words. Okay. Under the government activities, look up there at the top of the page in the top left-hand corner. It shows June 30th of 18, we had assets of $24 million. June 30th of 19, they increased to $27 million. Substantial increase. Come down there under liabilities, it went from $6.4 million to $7.1 million. So while the liabilities went up $600,000, the assets went up $3 million. That's got to be a good year for y'all. Okay, under the business type activities, if you look up there, the assets went from $8 million to $7.7 million. They were down mostly because of depreciation expense on our fixed assets. At the same time, our total liabilities went from $615 down to $580. Another good sign, your liabilities are going down. So that's where that page kind of shows the big picture of where we stood at the end of this year compared to where we stood at the end of last year. On page 8, got the same format. If you look at the top, look at our revenues. Went from $7.8 million to $9 million. That's a substantial increase in revenues in 1 year. And our expenses went from $7.4 million to $7.5 million. You know, our income was up $1.2 million. Our expenses were only up $100,000. So that's a real good sign. Change in net position. We are government, so we did not use the word profit. But if you were a regular business, you would have looked down there. You would have said our profit in 18 was $349,000. It increased to $1,439,000. At the same time, if you look at the business activities, which is basically our water fund, our revenues were $1.7 million. They dropped to 1.6, so they were down. Our expenses were $1,657,000 in 18. They jumped to $1,894,000. So our revenues were down slightly. Our expenses were up. And it resulted into a deficit position of $215,000. That is a one-shot deal. It is a result of where we spent money we'd made in prior years. So if that was a reoccurring theme, that would bother me, but it's not. It's just this year. Okay. Now, I want to point out, because we're a government, and we tend to collect money and then eventually spend it, okay? Not always in the same year. But turn to page 13, and I want to show you the improvements the city has made, which took some of our cash, granted, but really good improvements. Okay, on page 13, in the middle of the page, we talked about major expenditures. The James Boulevard infrastructure project was $1.1 million. We spent this past year alone on the fire station, $861,000. Spent $805 in the bridge. The MAC building, we spent $511,000, and we got a new leaf machine for $181,000. Now, right now, those guys are really thrilled you got that new leaf machine. I guarantee you that. But you can see we spent some big bucks this past year. Yeah. We really did. And, you know, that was great that we had the money to do that. Okay, now, just for Harry the attorney and those other people that are word people that like to read the words, I want to show y'all something. From page, let me go back. From page 4 through page 15 is management's discussions and analysis. It tries to put what I put in columns in the rest of this report into words. For those people that like to read words, like to read books, read page 4 through 15. It'll tell you more about the city. But if you're a numbers person like I am, I want to go to the back of the report where all the columns and figures are. Okay, real quick, on page 16, this is the same numbers we looked at just a minute ago on our balance sheet, but it's not comparison, it's just the 2019 numbers, June 30th, and you can look up there on the very top left-hand column, we got total assets of $27 million. You come down there in the bottom of the page, we got total liabilities of $7 million. There's a whole lot of businesses that would like to have a ratio like that. If you look at the business type activities, which is basically the water fund, we had assets of $7.7 million. We got liabilities of $580,000. That is really good. We are not real debt heavy, at all here. Things we get paid for things as we've gone. So that's a real good sign. On page 17, the next page, turn it sideways. It's the only sideways page in here. This is required by governmental accounting standards. It is not my favorite page, but they say governments are expenditure driven. Okay, so this is why this page is that way. If you look at the top left-hand column, you see it shows the expenses for the city. We spent $9.4 million at the bottom of that first page. It's like, wow. It's a town of Signal Mountain. You think it's not that big until you look at these numbers. $9.4 million. Then it starts going across the page. Charges for services of 1.9. We had operating grants of 637. We had capital grants of $1 million. So if you come all the way across the page, the right-hand column in the middle, we would have had a deficit if this was a normal business of $5.8 million. But the way we cover that deficit is with all the taxes we receive. The property taxes, the sales tax, all the different taxes cover that. And if you'll come down there at the bottom of the page, it shows change in net position of $1.2 million. So we were able to cover those things with the taxes we received. Now, I have finished page.
I'm not seeing that. Where's the
okay.
change in that?
If you come to the next to last column, it's
Thank you.
3 lines up from the bottom.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, up till now, this report has been on accrual basis of accounting. And that's what most businesses do. All the, we capitalize things and, but GASB 34 in their wisdom said, some cities operate on a cash basis of accounting, some cities operate on an accrual basis, and the banks like to see accrual basis, but other people like to see cash basis, and they started arguing back and forth. They couldn't decide what to do, so they said, put them both in there. So, I have now given you the accrual method. Now I'm going to swap over to the cash basis of accounting. So, when the numbers don't agree, it's because we've changed the basis of accounting. Okay. See, the next page I want to go to. And part of the reason I showed you that page before of all the things we bought, because on an accrual basis of accounting, those get capitalized and they're not expensed. Now I'm going to page 20, so go with me to page 20. And it shows a different story, but I want to make sure you all understand the story I'm about to tell you. Page 20, come again 3 lines up from the bottom. It shows the change in fund balances, and all of a sudden it shows under the general fund, we got a deficit of $1,595,000. State Street A, a deficit of $19,000. Under the building construction fund, we got $517,000 surplus, and the other fund's $171,000. So all of a sudden we got a total there of a deficit of $925,000. But, okay, $925,000, that sounds bad, but think of what we got. You got to go back and remember and look halfway up the page, and we highlighted it and made it bold, capital outlay. If you look up there in that right-hand column, under capital outlay, we spent $3.7 million on items. And this is what I was talking about. The leaf machine, you know, the bridge, the infrastructure improvements, all those things, $3.7 million, and we only ended up with a $925,000 deficit on a cash basis.
What, just so I can make a reference in here, what page was that list of capital outlay?
Okay.
Major.
Capital outlay was back on page 13.
Thank you.
Okay, put your finger on page 13.
Yeah.
You see the $1.1 million James Boulevard, the fire station of 861, the bridge of 805, the Mac building of 511, and the leaf machine of 181. Those were all the big capital outlays. So that's why we end up with that big number in there, and that's why there is that deficit. It doesn't mean we didn't do what we were supposed to do. We just changed one asset, cash, into fixed assets, okay? So it's not a problem, it's just want y'all to understand that, so you don't read this later tonight, because I know you're all gonna go home and read this and get really upset. So we're in good shape, real good shape. I do want to point out a couple things. If you go back to page 56, and this is new the last few years, before, and it goes from page 56 all the way to page 68, before we used to not put in there anything but a footnote on the pension plan, because pension plans, we're trying to project out the liability in the future. We got to have an actuarial person to do that. And there's so many variable factors, they just didn't say, just put in there they got a pension plan, and whatever they pay is a pension plan expense. Oh, no, that wasn't good enough. They decided that they need to put all this information there. So we got now page 56 through page 68 of all the pension plan information. It's more than you can absorb. But I do want to show you one thing, that on page 58 is the pension liability that the actuarials tell us is going to, you know, is what we have right now. And if you look, it's 1 year behind. We go from June 30, 17 to June 30, 18, because the June 30, 19, which is what I'd really like to put in here, won't be available until next March, April, May. So it's always a year behind. But that right-hand column, it shows the net pension liability was at the end of 17 $1,383,000, and it has dropped to $1,329,000. So even though it's a liability, it's going down, which is good news.
How is it that would drop?
The markets did real well, and the markets did really super until, well, actually the market did June 30th of 18, which is where this thing cut off, was doing great. It did great till September of 18, and then between September of 18 and December 31st of 18, those 90-day periods, it just dropped like a rock. It's all come back. But a lot of this is based on when the year end is.
Okay.
Okay.
Based on attrition, I guess, as well.
Yeah. Now, what's happened is gotten all these pension plans underwater is that, this is going to sound like a strange statement, people are living too long. They made the assumption that everybody was going to die at, like, you know, the average male would die at age 78, and then all of a sudden that number's jumped up, you know, a couple of years. And so now the numbers, they got to refigure and start calculating, but we are paying in what we're supposed to be paying in. And the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System is one of the best systems there is out there. And so this will all work out in the end, but it is something that's out there right now. Okay, I'm trying to see what else I want to tell y'all real quick. I think that's about it. There is, we've got a new OPEB plan liability that is just kind of ridiculous, but there is on page 68. And at the end of the year, it shows the total OPEB liability on page 68 is $91,000. That is part of an insurance plan that the state of Tennessee provides and every city participates in. It's nothing we have to do anything about, but we've now got to put that in the footnotes. So that's what's in here. The other thing back here is we always talk about in the back of the report, on page 94, is where the auditors put the nasty stuff, the bad stuff, the findings and results. And look down there, 3 things. Under the opinion, you got an unmodified opinion, which is what you want to get. That's great. Under internal control deficiencies, none disclosed. And under material noncompliance, none disclosed. That means these people, Carol and Boyd and all the people in the back office, have worked extremely hard to get everything done right. And that is so hard to do because they have to do so much every day. You know, people are in and out and all that. It is really, that's really a great thing to see that page blank in the back of the report. So I want to congratulate y'all. This is, on just a personal note, when my daughter and son-in-law came back here into town, I encouraged them to move up here, and they now live over by Thrasher Elementary. And my 2 grandsons are up here because I really encourage that because I think this is a great town. So I want to congratulate y'all. And I want to thank y'all for letting me come and speak tonight. I probably talked too much, but
No.
thank you.
Thank you.
That was
Any
great.
questions you'd like to ask me?
We'll probably
Okay.
call you after we've done some reading tonight.
You go home and read this tonight.
Yeah.
If you get more than 10 pages in before you go to sleep, call me tomorrow. But anytime if y'all want to talk about anything, just feel free to call us anytime.
Thank you.
If I might, just before you get away, I just want to mention that after this audit, well, Sherry's been here for a long time, and I was joking with Paul earlier and said, I think you brought in a hired gun this year. They brought an extra person
Yeah.
than they usually have, and Sherry was even like, this was a brute. It was tough, and I want to point that out because that's the argument I make when we talk about renewing a contract. That's what we want, and they put us through the ringer this year. And
they came out
as odd as
smelling
it
like a
sounds,
rose.
we appreciate that.
Yeah. And I appreciate all y'all do because we look at so much stuff, and for them to keep pulling it out for us, and Carol does a great job with, all the accounting records, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. That was very clear and easy to understand.
Thank
It
you.
seems strange to want to applaud an audit, but
I know.
Yay.
yay!
Mayor,
Yes.
Carol, could-
Yes, Carol.
So this is the only chance that I get to come before you and kind of expound a little bit on the staff that works for the town. This is our annual report card to you. We don't have any other way for you guys to know what a great job your people are doing out there. And I think this puts it in black and white for everybody. And I want to name the staff. We've of course got Sherry Morrison, who is instrumental, Bill Runyon, Shirley Gill, Diane Daly. They are all instrumental. They are hardworking, dedicated, they're committed. They provide so many services for the town. We handle hundreds of thousands of pieces of paper. And when they come and they ask us to pull piece number 832, and we're able to do that, I'm always so pleased and so happy. And we have all of these stringent requirements that everybody has to watch out for. We have the GAP, which is what everybody knows, the Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, but we also have GASB, which is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. The State Comptroller's Office is always watching everything we do, and they have a lot of rules and regulations that we also have to follow. And I also want to thank our auditors because Boyd's right. They're tough, they're professional, they keep us on our toes. Usually every year they do a good all-around job, but every year they'll pick one thing that they will really tunnel in on and look for, and we never know what it's going to be. It's always a surprise to us each time, and I'm just very thankful that we've been able to do as well a job, but it really is because of the people that you have out front.
Thanks, Carol.
I have a lot of questions, and you get to see them when we're in here, but Carol knows that I have a lot of questions when we're not here as well. And for, like Susanna, who's relatively new to this, you can always call. And as Paul mentioned also, I called the auditor a couple of times over the last few years as well, because actually it is good to go back and read this stuff. And there are things I wanted to understand, and sometimes it's our job as watching what happens in the town, if we don't understand something, to also, you know, call the auditors and try to find out. So it's a good system. It's scary at first, but everybody's helpful. So thank you. All right. We move to citizens' opportunity to address council. Do I have the right one? Yes. Citizens' opportunity to address council. If anyone would like to come to the microphone. Oh, good. I know you. Say your name and where you live.
Angie Landrum, 505 Georgia Avenue. I wanted to give you guys an update on what the year has been like for SME Preservation Fund. Sorry, I have a cold, so I'm probably going to lose my voice. This year, we had 1 dance, 6 coffee house concerts, a talent show, a pub night in the theater, and just finished last weekend the holiday market, along with the tree lighting. Volunteers have logged over 2,200 hours this year. And in those hours, we managed to renovate 3 rooms, including the theater. I have our budget for those 3 rooms that I want to give to you so you can see how much has gone into the building this year.
Thank you.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Where are we on the donations to the HVAC system? I see 58.9. Is that how much has come in?
Yes, specifically for the HVAC.
And what did the town, our general, the MOA that where we would go ahead and spend, what was that? It was in the neighborhood of.
It was in that ballpark.
So that money's.
Yeah, we're hoping it's at 60,000 in that range, so that's what we've been planning.
So that's good.
Yeah, we're almost there. So it's been a good year.
Anybody else have any questions about this?
I think it's amazing. Good job.
Thank you.
I want to add that we've had a couple of events in the theater, and the Christmas tree lighting was the first time we had an opportunity to have it filled. And we knew there would probably need to be some acoustic baffling that takes place in there because of the shape and the size of it. But we needed to have a room full of bodies before we could tell. And we may not need as much as we thought, but that's also included within this as well. So the reason I'm saying that is if you hear anyone say, boy, I went in there and it's just a little hard to hear right now, it's because it's not done yet. Just let people know that that's just another step.
Coming soon, yeah.
Yep. All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, we'll close that portion. Board committee appointments. Has everyone had a chance to read through these? And I mention this because we can do this in one vote, as we've done in the past, isn't that correct?
I've looked at them.
Entertain a motion to do them all in one vote?
Second.
I should probably read them all, Carol, or not?
Probably need them for minutes, don't you?
Yeah, I'll just read through the headers of what we're going to do. Excuse me. A resolution reappointing Robert Greisinger and Carrie Lansford as members of the Town of Signal Mountains Board of Zoning Appeals. A resolution reappointing Karen Rennick and James Exum as a member of the Town of Signal Mountains Design Review Commission. A resolution reappointing Barbara Womack, Clyde Womack, Ann Haygood, Kyle Kelly, Robert Ritchie, and Joshua Rogers, as members of a subcommittee of the Tree Board entitled Town of Signal Mountains Hemlock Conservation Task Force. A resolution reappointing Maggie Green, Sandy Partlow, Ed Bergen, members of the Town of Signal Mountains Library Board. Resolution appointing Angie Landrum and Seth Graham as members of the Town of Signal Mountain Arts Community Center Board. That one has a typo. That one has a typo in it. No, just if you want to fix it in the template. Yeah. A resolution reappointing Ethan Nelson and Jason Farmer as members of the Town of Signal Mountain Municipal Planning Commission. A resolution reappointing Cheryl Carrico as a member of the Town of Signal Mountains Parks Board. A resolution reappointing Joe Durick Jr. as a member of the Town of Signal Mountain Personnel Committee. A resolution reappointing Don Close and Tony Bowles as members of the Town of Signal Mountains Recreation Advisory Board. And a resolution reappointing Barbara Womack and Joseph Horton as members of the Town of Signal Mountain Tree Board. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to
We've
approve.
already done that.
You said we had a motion in a second? Okay, I was considering it, that's fine. All right, any discussion? Any names? Is there anyone with any of those boards that feels like anything we need to know? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 5-0. We have no ordinances on the agenda tonight. This discussion item is a new one, Signal Mountain Golf and Country Club request for permission to build a structure at the driving range. So that'll be staff. Take it away.
This request was brought to my attention recently, actually by Harry. Country Club would like to build a structure at the driving range, as I understand it, as a cover for the driving area. Our lease requires that any major construction be approved in writing by the town ahead of that. I believe we have someone here to speak to that project. I told them that it would be up to you guys as to what information you might need, but at least tonight we can get an introduction of the project. And Harry and I discussed it, and I don't think it's anything that has to be a resolution. But if there's consensus with the council to approve it, then we could issue a letter to that effect later. But we've asked them to come and give you an idea of what they're talking about tonight.
All right, so who wants to speak?
Hello, I'm Rob Pierce. I'm the Vice President of the Board of Directors of the club. This project is actually 802 Signal Mountain Boulevard. This project is actually a teaching facility. It's a hitting bay, more than a covered area. It's for our teaching professionals to teach members, for members to go and potentially hit balls in inclement weather, but also for non-members to come and get lessons. So it's essentially just a teaching facility. If you think of it as a double-car garage with big doors that open up, that's essentially what it is. And since we lease the land, this is a building that would be going on your property, which we understand is something that essentially you would own if the lease ever was expired. So just hoping to find out more about what we need to do on our end before we start with this project and answer any questions they have.
Materials? What do you
Materials?
think? Mm-hmm.
It's a garage essentially, so it's wood stick built. We're debating between concrete floor or wood floor with a crawl space.
But it's enclosed.
It's enclosed.
So what sort of walls?
Wood with hardy board.
Okay.
Would this need to go before DRC? Or even Planning Commission?
I don't know about planning, but DRC, it may very well be commercial considered.
Yeah, we do have 4 contractors who are involved with this that are members as well. So we'll be using, we'll be going through their contracting licenses.
Will the high school have access to it?
Yes, the members do. Most of the kids on the team are members anyways. So yeah, they'll absolutely have access, as they do now.
Plumbing out there. You'll need
Yeah.
a bathroom probably.
Yes. So we'll have to dig a plumbing line from our existing, where the maintenance area is, where the head pro's office is. We'll be doing a plumbing line down there with probably doing septic. I've got the septic assessment done, so there's 5 different areas that we can put septic. So chances are it'll be septic unless it's more, cost efficient to pump it back up to the main line. It'll probably be a septic system.
Do you have any drawings or renderings?
Waiting for that. Ray Boaz is a member, who's also an architect, who's doing that right now. So I'm hoping to have that hopefully by the end of the year, but with Christmas, it's tough. We should have this shortly.
Right. You can share that with us?
Yeah, sure, anything you need. We'll have a rendering and we'll have the architectural design.
Perfect.
I'm actually going to meet with him when we're done here.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to meet with him tonight when I leave here, so.
Okay. So what are their steps to get to the DRC?
An application. I mean, and all that would be necessary before that came to them, and they'll look at finish, everything, lighting, the whole package. And then, being something that will be permitted, they'll be required to have either WWTA approval or county approval on a septic system before a permit would be issued, so. I think ultimately, once council sees what they have in mind, then we've never really done anything like this since I've been here at least. It would be a matter of preliminary approval from council, if that was your choice, and then through the DRC and everything, and once there's a final product, an option then could be for council to see the final rendering and approve that if they don't want to defer to DRC for that.
Since they're crossing leased land with the plumbing line, the way the line would run, I hope consideration would be made for, not taking out trees.
Yeah, it actually goes right through the range for the plumbing. So it's just a ditch
Oh, it
going.
does, okay.
Yeah, it goes right through the middle of the range. So it's actually a fairly
Pretty
simple
easy then,
process,
yeah.
especially from our standpoint. And we have the county, whatever he's called, he's coming at to approve the septic. He's gonna tell us exactly where he wants the septic from the 5 locations that were determined.
So you had the perk test done, and
Yep, that's already done.
there are that many options,
Yeah, so we've already done that.
and they generally would require 2, primary and secondary.
Well, if any place has field line space, it would be, it would be a driving range, it
Right.
seems like, yeah.
Yeah, the room's not a problem. We do have to remove some trees for the location it is, where
For
it's
the
gonna be.
building.
If you know where the range is, it's at the very end between the range and number 8 fairway, actually essentially in the trees. So there will be some trees that have to be moved. That's the only place we can really put it.
Is that, because again, we have a tree board and this is town property. Would you be willing to have the tree board come take a look, just to make sure that we're not dealing with any of our old
Sure,
growth
yeah,
trees?
whatever we have to, yeah, anything we have to do.
Could you, Ann, do you want to arrange that? Hate to put that on you, but, okay, just to be sure.
Sure, absolutely. Not a problem at all.
Any other
Motion
questions?
to approve?
I don't think we have to approve anything.
We
do
don't?
we?
Not yet. We gotta wait till we see it
Okay.
all. Yeah.
What I can do, when I get the renderings and the architectural designs, I can just forward it through Mr. Cash.
Right.
And he could pass it through. And then I can come anytime you need to keep you updated or anything you need from me.
Yeah, all right.
If you can get that to us for review ahead of the January 13th meeting,
Okay?
then we can put it back on the agenda for that.
I'll
All
get
right.
Mr. Boaz right on top of it.
Jeremy's got a deadline.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we're about done, folks. Just a reminder that this is our last meeting of the month,
Of the year.
of the year. That's true. Yeah. All right, items for the tentative agenda, January 27.
Right now, with it being that far out, we really don't have anything. We do have the vicious dog ordinance that we've been working on. Sam and I have both been out a little bit, so we've pretty much got that wrapped up and hope to at least have it to you for discussion at the next one. Other than that, possibility, we're on codes. Yeah, we're hoping we'll have code updates for building code, plumbing code, and all of that ready as well. But those are the two things that are kind of on the radar.
I could have asked this not at a meeting, but I'll ask it now since I'm thinking about it. Could we make it a practice that all council members get notified of any meetings that are coming up or any meetings that are canceled regarding committees?
Okay.
And I think we should all get copies of their minutes as well, so that we can be up when we come to these meetings about what might have just transpired from the last week. And I know the hard part is getting those minutes turned in sometimes, but if we could systematize that, that would help. All right, anybody else have any other business you want to bring in?
Carol, I know I've been having trouble getting from my work to here right at 6, and I know in years past we have to let the record reflect that I'm present. Do we need to do that formally, or do you just do it when I come in?
I've just been making a note of it.
Okay.
Putting it in the minutes. I just put it up to the side at what time you're.
Okay, good. I wasn't,
If you're okay with
the last time, last year was like, well, the record, I thought, we haven't said that. I don't want it to seem like I wasn't here. So, okay, thank you. That's all I have.
I do have one thing under other business, if Chief Mitchell wants to come up and let you guys know. And you have something at your place too. We were contacted recently by the architects that we worked with on the fire station. And I don't know if you're familiar with Firehouse Magazine, but it's pretty much the industry standard. And our little small town got some pretty significant attention there, and I'll let Chief explain it.
What Firehouse Magazine does, they're an industry publication. They have a online version, and actually they still do a printed version, which that's fastly becoming obsolete. But they do, one of the things Firehouse Corporation does, they're actually owned by Southcom in Nashville, but they sponsor station design seminars for fire service professionals and architects that are designing, public safety buildings, whether it be training facilities, police, fire stations, EMS buildings. And they hold a couple of those a year. There's one in Charlotte, North Carolina, then one they move around. I think this year the spring or the late winter 2020s up in Rosemont, Chicago area. But anyway, one of the things they do every year, they have a Station Design Award program. And they have several categories. They have career, competition, volunteer categories. They have headquarters. They have satellite facilities. They have training facilities, multi-use facilities, police and fire. But anyway, our architects, Allen and Hoschel, entered our station, Station 2, into the contest last year, and we received an award. We were actually in the magazine in October, or was it November's? I don't know, anyway, I got it in October, for a satellite station, and they came a couple weeks ago and brought us, I gave you a copy of the article, but they gave us a framed copy of our award.
Very nice.
So,
Right.
one of the things that they look at is uniqueness, and one of the things that the committee's made up of the director of the satellite design portion of Firehouse, architects, a fire chief that's also an architect, and some other design professionals who these packets are submitted to. But it was how it fit, into the area. We had some unique challenges with ours, rock, structure, terrain, but we made them all work. And then they also look at how you design your station for efficiency, and ours, with the concrete floors, the high efficient glass, and some different things that we did made it notable for an award. So that's pretty much where we're at. So I said, not only we like it, other people like it too. We've actually had, since we opened a year ago, several fire chiefs and city managers come through their building facilities and look at it. So I know the city manager and fire chief from Greenville were here, Sevierville, Arlington, and a few other places have come to look at our building, and they're actually using Allen and Hoschel as their architect. So, but anyway, that's what that is.
Great.
Great.
Oh, very cool. Well, thank you and congratulations. I have a couple of things. Anybody else have any other business kinds of things? We've had a few times that our recycle center has been full. And driving by there this Saturday, it was a beautiful day, and everybody had Christmas music playing, and and I'm thinking, oh, look at the recycle center, it's full of people. And then a little bit later that afternoon, I found out that it was full of a lot of people that were unhappy because the recycle center was full and they couldn't drop their stuff off. And heard some stories, legitimate stories about people who had gotten out, elderly folks who, it was a big deal to carry everything in. They get it all in and find out they have to carry it all back out again. And so Boyd got a call from me first thing this morning just to say, because I think someone told me last time as well, and that's what you get to hear. So we had a conversation, and I don't think this really requires council action, that maybe we need to figure out a better system because it's going to fill up from time to time. And
yeah, and that's, you're right, it's going to fill up occasionally. I don't know that we could ever reach a point where that's absolutely not going to happen. But I did talk to Loretta today, and we have asked in the past for additional containers, especially like right after Thanksgiving, and they didn't have any available. We asked for additional personnel, and they didn't have any available, so Loretta sent one of her folks up after Thanksgiving to help out the Orange Grove folk. So we have tried to be proactive in anticipating when those things might happen. We are looking at, they've offered to put a second compactor in, but while they will provide that, we have to have the electrical done. So she's already gotten one quote, and we're going to look at how we might be able to do that. So it's a process that's underway, and determining what the best situation is still kind of up in the air. Whether it's just more regular containers, is it feasible to put a second compactor in? Is the electrical work affordable?
A second compactor
how much
for,
that gives us?
for the mixed.
oh, for the mixed paper? Second
Yeah,
compactor?
for the single stream.
Okay.
And this last weekend, Loretta said she got a call, it was right at 5 when they got to where they couldn't take any more. They had done the pulls on Friday.
So they had been
everything was
there,
up on
okay.
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday was busy, Saturday was slammed, and we just got to capacity about an hour before we would normally close. But we are looking at ways that we can improve capacity in a relatively cost-effective way. And if we can keep the number of containers we have and get a second compactor, Loretta estimates that's probably equivalent to 2 standard containers. So that would be a significant increase. But again, we're looking at what the associated cost might be. So
But
all of that's already being looked into.
our costs for the electricity, that's easy to determine, but they provide it without charging us? Or
They provide the container, but we would have to have electrical power run and
right.
and all of that.
you helped start this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts? I was just wondering if,
Well, it's a good problem to have,
yeah, it is.
you know, people bringing that much stuff.
Yeah.
I know it's frustrating for them, but it's a great problem to have. But yeah, definitely a second compactor would be very helpful.
And I really don't know any way that you can, you know, when you're there, trying to make sure the containers are packed down and getting it, when you reach capacity and you're busy, there are gonna be people that are in the process of
Right.
unloading
Mhm.
and, you know, we try to minimize that, but that, it's gonna be difficult to
Yeah.
avoid a situation where we don't have something like that.
Exactly.
Other than trying to shut down maybe a little sooner.
Right.
So that the people that are coming in might have a little space to put stuff in or something like that. But the bottom line is they were trying to get as much in as they could. When they were full, they were full.
Yeah.
But
The worst times would be after a holiday and it had been closed. And we would show up and the full length of the fence in the parking lot there would be piled high with people's stuff.
Leaving things out. front.
Leaving
Yeah.
them for us to take care of.
Can't have that
Oh,
either.
my goodness.
Mm.
Once again, grateful they're recycling, but it's difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. One other one that came to my attention, I had a 10-year-old boy. He did a great job. His name was Reed, that found me at the Christmas event Saturday night and said, "Are you the mayor?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "I'd like to talk to you about my school bus stop." And it's one that's I think it's in Hidden Brook. I didn't quite understand it, but I've got talk to his parents later. And he's one of the early pickup times. So he's says there's no light, and one of his friends has almost been hit a couple of times because there's a stop sign and people coming down the road that he's on don't stop. And so he said, "And I know you can't stop people from speeding," he said, "but I wonder what we need to do to get a traffic light." And I told him, "I think..."
You mean a street light?
Street light, no, a traffic light.
That would be
Oh,
fun.
my gosh, I'm like,
You want this
No.
room?
pretty sure I know what street he's talking about, too.
Can you
I hit the
imagine?
lane.
No, to get a street light out there. And I assume it's probably a conversation with the EPB, but I don't know.
if you can just give me the information on the location, we'll read it and we'll take a look at it.
Okay, it's probably possible, huh?
If that's an EPB thing, there are other areas. I'll tell you what, coming around Heart Attack Hill, I cannot see.
Mhm.
Come into this
probably-
meeting, I didn't see two people walking. I mean, it is so dark when
It
it's
is really dark
cloudy.
over there.
Well,
I always thought that was an
EPB puts
ordinance
them up,
thing.
but the town
Pays for them.
So
Yeah.
there's certain criteria in terms of intersections and all of that, so we can look at it and see if it fits that or if there's some other unusual circumstance that otherwise would.
Of course, you don't want it too bright.
Right.
Right. Well, the newer ones
We
they're
do
putting
have,
in are the,
you know, people that, we've put them up when people have asked and we look at it and, okay, yeah, it fits, it makes sense, we put it up and then we get a call going,
This
why did
is,
you put that?
why'd you put the
Right,
light
right.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because
Yeah,
there's
I
Well,
light.
you can
know,
never
it's
make
kinda-
everybody
Yeah.
happy.
you gotta,
That's
Happy-
why you
happy
you
medium.
look at it carefully, and certainly, you know, kids and bus stops are something we wonder about, but it's not something we can say, oh, yeah, we can do that. We just need to
well,
look
and they
see
can
how it
like put them
fits.
on timers too, maybe at certain times of day to illuminate more brightly than others.
Right.
So,
Well, I invited Reed to come back and talk to us if he doesn't feel that he is treated satisfactorily. So
That's precious.
Well, good.
If you'll,
I love that.
if you'll just give me that.
I'll get you the
location,
info, yeah. All right, anybody else? All right, motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second? In
Second.
favor?
in five,
Aye.
yeah, I'm out of here.
It has